been running around like a crazy person today. It's so funny because I don't know where you guys come from to get here, but if you are leaving this hotel and you want to go across the street, it's 35 minutes in the car. So I walked the footbridge because that's 12 minutes. But then on the way back, they're like, no, it's fine. The way back is much faster. So I'm in the freaking shuttle for 25 minutes. Finally, I get out and I'm walking. I've done more like peace outs on the shuttle vans. I mean, I'm out. Just get me off. I'm walking. Because you can get anywhere on foot. It's the damn chauffeuring that'll kill you.
How do you have time for another show?
Well, you know what? I basically have time for this. And that's about it. I tell somebody, when you're doing one show, you throw every single ounce of yourself into that show. So you are already working the maximum amount of hours in any given day that you can work and not die. And you manage every detail from what length somebody's bangs are to what the title card looks like to, how loud the music is. And when you add more work, you still only have a certain amount of time in the day, so it really just becomes about, okay, so I'll give up on now, I won't micromanage the length of the bangs. And I'll damn well hope that whoever I put in my place has good bang taste, And then you add the third show, and it's the same thing. You're like, okay, well now I won't be able to go to the sound mix all the time for all these shows. So hopefully I've trained people that hear it like how I hear it, so that they can be the arbiters of what it should sound like. So it weirdly enough, it's the same amount of work. It's just delegated differently and executed differently.
So when you have two successful shows, what about Containment? When it came across your way, did you say, okay, I really want to do this, even though I am swamped?
It was the material, 100% actually. They called me from the studio, and one side had said, we don't want you developing. And the other side called and said, hey, do you want to develop? And I had to laugh because I'm like, these guys clearly do not talk to each other. And I said, you know what, I'm not available, but I'd love to come in and talk because a girl likes to be invited to the party, right? Even if she can't come. So I go in and I'm talking to them, and they talk me through all this material that they've acquired, and they asked me what kind of stuff I like to do. And I said, I love to tell stories about love and friendship and family and loyalty and grief and loss. And I like to drop, people into extremely, extremely vivid and specific circumstances, whether it be a vampire universe or, something. And I said, and I love virus movies. I'm obsessed with virus movies. And their jaws fell open because they had just purchased a format out of Belgium that was about a quarantine. And so they said, well, we have one. And I was like, are you kidding me? And it worked because I watched it and I thought it was so good. It's the kind of show that I would binge watch on Netflix tomorrow, easy, and think was spectacular. And I thought, well, if it's this good, then I know it works. The proof of concept exists. The show works. And so all I have to do is make it my own and make it better, make it different, whatever. But I can do that with the two other shows juggling because I'd be an honor, to be involved. It's like I call it my little cable piece. I love it. It's smart. It's like Homeland. It's gritty and cool, and it's grown up, and I love the tone and lets me play in that world in a way that makes me happy.
So in what way did you put your stamp on the concept, and where do you see it going?
Obviously the biggest shift is it's not Antwerp, it's Atlanta. I'm very familiar with the city of Atlanta because I work there quite a lot, and so it was fun to sort of the first time we did the map. We drew the map of the quarantine line as scripted, and I looked on it and I was like, my apartment's there. I'm inside the cordon. So then I was wrong, and I'm actually just outside, which is good, so I'm safe. But mostly it's in trying to represent the cultural diversity of America and of Atlanta specifically. It opened a lot of doors for storytelling. You have a black cop in a southern city, and you have a lot of politics and a lot of stuff that immediately comes out of that, and it really opened doors that I hadn't even expected, and I love that, because I'm just, it started when I started it. I had the cast from the Belgian show in mind, and then as we peppered our world with people that look like what Atlanta looks like, it just began, like now with George, you know, he's English, he plays Dr. Cannerts, he's English and he's also Asian. So then you're like, okay, what's his backstory? You know, why did he leave his community, his family? Why is he in Atlanta of all places? What brought him here? And it just makes you ask those questions that can contribute to story in great ways.
All right, well, they
were
gave us the
telling-
wrap
Thank you.
around.
All right,
All right,
I'm
thank
out.
you